I want to talk about granularity. So again, in the process world, levels of decomposition are pretty standard. Whereas when it comes to the customer experience world and customer journey mapping, it's a lot different, because realistically, right, if I were to get 100 people to map an actual physical process in a factory, I'd expect 99.9% accuracy between them, because there is a very set physical bunch of things that's happening. But when you start to map like something that's extremely emotional, it's subjective to the person that's mapping it. It's subjective to the person that's experiencing it. So it's a very different way of doing things. And I imagine each person that's doing it almost gets their own style, and they're almost as if it's an art. And people do say that about customer experience. It's an art. And people do say we need to try and get more scientific with the customer experience as well, which I agree with. We do. But how do you know when you're going too granular? Because you said you need to get that granularity in there. Is there a level, like for instance, if I say like customer walks to phone, customer picks up the phone, customer presses 0, customer presses 8, customer looks out of the window. Is like, are we getting too granular at that point, or are you saying, you know what, if you got the time, get that granular? Let's see what we could, like, how, help me with that.
Well, when you start getting to the point where you're capturing that the customer's looking out the window, that's a problem, right? You know, there definitely is a point where you've got too much detail. But, you know, honestly, in all the workshops I've ever done, I've never had anybody get to that level. I think they, you know, if you've coached them and prepared them for the workshops, they have a pretty good sense of what the level that they need to map at. So yeah, I've actually never even experienced that, because I prepare them well beforehand. The other thing is that I would say is that, you know, when you've got a bunch of customers in the room and they're talking to each other, and it's really a very creative process, and it gets them up and saying, what did we do? What next? Did that really happen? Did that go here? Does that go there? You know, that kind of thing. So they sort of for lack of a better way, self-regulate.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, and
self-granulate.
Yes, exactly. And that works too. So it's worked out in the end. Again, a lot of it comes down to just coaching them and preparing them well at the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So I get that as well. I like the idea of allowing the customers to self-granulate or self-regulate, because of course when they tell their story, they will go into the level of detail they deem necessary for you to get a picture of what happened.
That's right.
Therefore, that is the level of detail necessary. I mean, I imagine every now and then.
Oh, God, sorry. I was just going to say, more often than not, it doesn't get granular enough. They skip things, and I have to go back and say, well, that just seems like, you know, there's a big gaping hole there. Let's go back and talk about what happened there. So yeah, more often than not, they don't go granular enough.
Okay, that's cool. So you got to try and drag it out a little bit. I get that.